All right, I think we can get started. Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining for today's roadmap highlights session. My name is Nicholas. I'm joining you live from Cambridge in the UK today. It's probably the first nice day in the whole of in the entire month, so that's really nice. And I'll be joined by Dom in the presentation today. Now, before we dive into the detail of the roadmap, I actually wanted to start off with something that we've actually been spending a lot of time on internally, and you'll see us kind of increasingly talk about going forward. And Kathy talked about this earlier today in her session as well. And that is really our Learn Ultra product vision and direction, and kind of that articulation of where do we see ourselves go in the next 3 to 5 years? What are the areas that we really want to focus on, that we really want to be very good at, and what are some of the things that we are not going to do? And I mean, over the last many months, we've been talking to lots of individual students, individual instructors, institutions to get their thoughts on how the pandemic has been, what are some of the more permanent changes that they expect to come out of that. And that's really allowed us to kind of refine and sharpen our product vision and product direction. And it's resulted in these, what we refer to as these 5 core product pillars. And these pillars essentially kind of represent the areas that we really want to focus on and want to be really good at. I'm going to do a very, very quick run through just to kind of refresh our minds. But it all starts from a central pedagogy pillar, and that is essentially kind of that mix or that blend of actionable and personalized insights informed by rich data, blended with deep research-informed pedagogical understanding and community best practice. And then around that central pedagogy pillar, we've got 4 additional supporting pillars. First one is efficiency, the idea that the LMS is built around instructors and students' natural workflow and becomes quicker and more valuable over time. Second surrounding pillar is what we call best in class. This is all about integration, kind of providing seamless and deep integrations with and encouraging the use of best-in-class tools and resources, and connecting with in-person resources and institutional resources wherever possible. The third surrounding pillar is what we call progress, the idea of kind of showing instructors and learners where they're at, how they're doing, what to do next, and then helping them in identifying their next steps. And then the last pillar is what we call collective, and this is probably the pillar that's evolved the most because of the pandemic, but this is the idea that the LMS, the VLE needs to provide a shared experience and needs to help students and instructors build relationships, create ongoing feedback loops, provide mutual support, and create more authentic connections. And the reason why these pillars, the reason why this is really important is because it's something that we use internally very much as a working tool, almost as an internal compass to help us make prioritization decisions, roadmap decisions, and ideally, we're always looking for, because there, as an LMS, there's a lot of different things that can be prioritized. But we're always looking for features, capabilities that have overlap with most, if not all of these pillars. So I did at least want to reiterate that kind of as context setting. There's a lot more to come around this. There's a lot of depth around this. We'll talk a lot about this at BB World as well. And I'm hoping that it kind of, as we go through the more detailed roadmap today, that you'll actually start to see these pillars come back pretty strongly. The other thing I just wanted to spend a minute on is also providing a little bit of detail on how roadmap is actually determined and how we get to a roadmap. And I mean, roadmaps are really fascinating, really complex exercises, and they evolve constantly. I always say that if I ever do a PhD, it'll probably be on roadmaps. And I think it's useful to kind of explain that there's a lot of different sources of input that feed into a roadmap. There's UX activities, generative research, conceptual validation, usability testing. There's kind of direct user feedback. There's kind of client feedback. There's the different user groups. There's the community. There's market research, usage data. So there's all of these different things that all feed into the roadmap. And then what's really important, that as those things are collected and as they feed into the roadmap, that we want to make sure that they align really well with that product vision, with those pillars, with the overall direction. And that then kind of is all brought together, and that then ultimately leads to kind of a prioritized roadmap, a prioritized list of items to go after. Second thing that I wanted to briefly touch on, and we talked about this during the recent Learn Roadmap webinar as well, is kind of the idea of how do roadmaps actually work, and how does certainty and confidence around roadmaps start to reduce the further out you try to look. And this is really important because we do want to set very realistic expectations. And the way in which we think about it is that there's kind of three different time horizons within a roadmap. The first is what we call kind of what's coming in the next 1 to 3 months. And this is something that we've got a very high level of confidence about. Most of these items are in advanced stages of development or in testing already. So we will have pretty good confidence on what the actual release date for those items will be. Second time horizon is kind of what's 3 to 6 months out, where we still have a pretty good level of confidence. Most of these items will be in progress already. We'll have a good idea of what those items look like, but we will not always know the exact release date, and things can still change based on feedback, based on kind of what's happening in the market, and so on. And then there's a third time horizon, which is 6+ months out, and this is where things get a little bit more murky, and we'll have a pretty good idea of kind of what are some of the larger themes and areas of functionality that we want to prioritize, but we may not always know the exact features that translates to, and we will definitely not have a confirmed timeline for those, and things will still change within that. So as we go through the roadmap today, basically you'll see the structure come back. So each of the so essentially the roadmap today will consist of 4 different sections. The first one is what are some highlights of kind of what's recently been released, just to make sure that we're all aware of what's kind of recently happened. Second section will then be about, okay, what's coming next in the next 1 to 3 months with release dates. Section after that will be, okay, what's kind of in that 3 to 6 months bucket, or what are some of the highlights within that. And then the last section will be what's kind of a little bit further out, what are some of those larger themes that we're looking at kind of further down the horizon. As I said, for each of these sections, we'll have highlights for all of the different products that'll include Learn Ultra, Learn Original, Collaborate, Ally, Blackboard Data, but also how those products work together and how they integrate with each other. As I said, it's going to be highlights only. We obviously don't have time to cover everything. There are more detailed product webinars that are available, and that I would highly recommend. So with that, I'll hand it over to Dom, and Dom's going to run us through some of the highlights that have recently been released.
Brilliant. Thanks, Nico, and thanks ever so much. Great to see everybody here, and coming to you from, like Nico said, sunny Birmingham. It's been the first time we've seen sun, I think, for this month. So great to be here. So for the first sort of portion of this section, I want to take you through kind of the recently delivered components that we have brought to market. So first of all, a focus around Learn Ultra and qualitative peer assessment. It's a great way to engage learners. It's a great way to assess critical thinking, appraisal, and communication skills. One of the things that we did in respect to this development, specifically for Learn Ultra, was work with you, our customers. We gained clear feedback from you about what this capability should include, how it should be built from the ground up. You know, we built it with those kind of core components in mind. And, you know, ultimately our implementation is pretty unique in the way that we've moved forward with this workflow. So not only is it embedded in the same structure that, you know, academics would use when building assessments, it also provides the abilities for students to kind of see the peer submissions and the qualitative feedback that takes place. It also provides capabilities around supporting late participants and lateness flagging for graders as well. That's pretty unique. It's something that was critical as part of our research that we did around this. We know that the competitive solutions out there don't handle late submissions, don't allow sort of evaluators to take place. They're essentially locked out of that process. And we just realized that wasn't going to be a component that was going to work in the real world. So we're really, really pleased and really proud to be able to bring this, and obviously really appreciate the feedback that this community has kind of brought to this particular solution. Okay, so next up, Proctoring Framework, or as kind of we like to think around it, our digital examinations framework. Blackboard's have been a long sort of promoted the ideas of open standards and interoperability in respect to the solutions that we build. And, you know, we're really pleased and proud to be supporting the kind of the educational community in respect to bringing a solution that allows kind of digital or proctoring-based integrations forward. This framework is actually built on top of the very latest LTI proctoring standard, something that was actually put together by numerous assessment organizations. We actually enhanced this solution, and we're actually the first VLE provider on the market to actually release and align to this and be certified against this standard. Now, one of the things that really supports this kind of framework that we've built is that we've been able to augment that with our own premium APIs to really provide the best end user experience for instructors, academics, and students. We're actually working closely with a number of assessment organizations in respect to building this solution out. So, and obviously we're going to be launching and outlining more information around these joint engagements sort of later on into the next couple of months. But this is something that we're really excited about, and again, something that's really critical for our client community. Okay, so next up, a focus around our Microsoft Teams integrations. And, you know, our focus around integration with, you know, Nico touched on that, deep and, you know, sort of best in class as one of the pillars, a real key focus around deep and seamless integrations. This has really evolved since kind of the early stages of the sort of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, when, you know, we quickly pivoted alongside Microsoft to provide an integration that would meet the use cases and the requirements at that particular time for the market. So now in 2021, you know, we're working so much closer with Microsoft to, you know, build and deepen the integration and provide a much more fully featured integration with Microsoft Class Teams for Education. This is a full version of Microsoft Class Teams, launched from directly inside the VLE, instructor created essentially. So as an instructor or an academic, you have the ability to link this. We're currently in a pilot or a technical preview stage at the moment. We've got a number of clients who are already on the call today as part of that, getting really great feedback. And we're continuing to take that feedback on board, iterate against it, and obviously launch something coming into the summer period in line for back to school for many people on the call today. So hugely exciting, and again, really appreciate the feedback that we're getting from our technical preview participants. Okay, so next up on this one is messages. So of course, you know, nothing's more personal than sending someone a particular message. This is something that's available for Learn Original and Learn Ultra. The previous ones were specifically around Ultra, and now talking a little bit about some of the wider concepts for Learn. Messages is a key component and really allows users to engage whilst on the go, and it's really important for students and educators as well, regardless of where they're accessing that engagement from. So with messages, both for the Blackboard and the Blackboard Instructor applications, students and academics will get push notifications, they can respond to messages that are sent through, and essentially even add attachments as well, directly wherever they are, directly from inside the application. So really providing that mechanism for engagement and communication to take place. Now, back in December 2020, and I can see many people using this in the chat already, we released chat mentions specifically for Blackboard Collaborate. You know, social learning, it's hugely valuable, really directs kind of the impact and engagement and success for learners and students. Chat mentions helps to reinforce the sense of being connected, certainly when you're in an online environment, and really helps to kind of give context to the conversations that are taking place. First of all, we've been amazed by how quickly this feature got adopted. I think in the first day of the release, we had over 1 million mentions taking place across all of our Collaborate sessions. Within the first month, we touched over 30 million mentions, and now we're well into 2021, and it's just sort of part of that ubiquitous capability that we have inside Collaborate. So it's really great to see it, and really, again, super proud to be able to kind of bring this to market. And then we're going to be focusing around Ally and some of the capabilities on here. And we know that accessible content, both in and outside of the VLE, is super important to provide that kind of inclusive experience for students and academics in the institution. So when you think about homegrown solutions, to library systems, to other tools that institutions have in their own educational ecosystem, it can be sometimes pretty daunting to understand and pretty manual effort to understand how accessible content can really be and content really is. And that's one of the reasons why we created Ally as a service. So with this particular solution, we've taken Ally's core components, things like accessibility checking, scoring workflows, alternative format creation, and essentially made them available as a set of core APIs. So with these APIs, what you can do is easily embed accessibility data from Ally into any workflow, automatically increase awareness above and beyond what free tools are available, and also help to kind of create efficiency and decrease time that it takes to solve those core accessibility issues. So again, really proud to be able to kind of bring this to our client base. And next up, some recently delivered things, pretty hot off the press actually in respect to Blackboard reporting tier. So many of the announcements and discussions this week and so far today have been specifically around Blackboard Data, which is our SaaS data and reporting platform. And obviously, as you heard from Lee and Kathy's keynote that happened earlier today, we know we've had this capability of being able to release this workflow around the Blackboard reporting tier directly to hosted clients now within the EU AWS region. And with this, if you have Blackboard Data enabled, you'll be able to access essentially 3 reports on tool adoption and usage at no additional charge. So if you've already accessing Blackboard Data through perhaps a named account rather than the generic sort of Blackboard Data user account, you can actually go directly to data.blackboard.com right now and actually have a look and explore these reports that have been made available to you. If you are still using that generic account, you can request an individual account, simply go on behind the Blackboard as a normal admin and put a support request in there as well. And if you haven't yet enabled Blackboard Data, please, I encourage you. It's a great solution and really will bring power to your own educational ecosystem at your institution. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues to spin up a bit of a poll. I would love to get sort of feedback from you in respect to the ideas here. So first of all, have you tried that qualitative peer review capability in Learn Ultra? Love to get some feedback to allow this to be interactive from you. So we can see a number of responses coming in. Some people have, some people haven't yet. Some people are going to be trying that relatively soon. So it's kind of good to kind of get that feedback and appreciate the engagement. So with that, I'll kind of end the poll, appreciate the engagement there, and hand back over to Nico to take us into the 1 to 3 month time frame. Nico.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dom. So yeah, as Dom was saying, let's now look at some of the kind of the highlights of what we expect to become available in the next 1 to 3 months. Again, this is not a comprehensive list, but we have tried to kind of pull out some of the hopefully more exciting highlights. So wanted to start off with this one. I'm actually really excited to announce this one. So we, as part of the June release for Learn Ultra, will be releasing full support for right to left languages. And as many of you know, this is something it's been in the making for a while. We're now finally ready to make this available. Initially, the support will be for Arabic as well as Hebrew. And this includes availability of the base navigation, the full Ultra course view, as well as the administrator workspace for those right to left languages, as well as improvements to the rich text editor to allow for the changing of the text direction within the editor. As you can imagine, this has been a heavy lift, so we're super happy to finally see this go out. All right. So in line with the pedagogy pillar, we want to provide really rich and kind of different ways in which feedback can be provided to students. One of the ways in which feedback can be provided is through rubrics, and essentially allowing students to kind of better understand how and what they will be assessed against. And this is an area that we've been doing kind of a lot of work around. For example, we recently made the rubric tool easier to access as part of the grading workflow. And now, as part of the upcoming June release, we'll also be releasing a new improvement in this area, which is the ability to provide feedback by rubric criterion. And this allows kind of academics to give feedback on individual rows rather than kind of having to give all of the feedback in a more summative fashion. All right, and then again, kind of aligned with the pedagogy pillar, but also the collective pillar. And we've had the ability to kind of provide audio, video feedback to students inside of the grading workflow for quite a while. So essentially the idea of recording a quick video. And this actually came up in the assessment roundtable that Hervé was leading this morning as well. And obviously kind of being able to give that audio video feedback kind of adds a lot of personalization to the student experience and can help give them kind of a stronger sense of belonging with the course and the instructor, which we know is important. So given that and given everything that's happened in the last year, we wanted to extend this audio video feedback kind of functionality or capability to additional areas within the course. And so as part of the June release, of the Learn Ultra June release, we'll be adding this audio video feedback functionality to both the course announcements area as well as the peer review or the peer assessment area. And we do have a longer term goal to bring this to additional areas within the course as well. And the really good news about this is that, I'm assuming there's going to be a question about, does this contribute to our storage quota? And the answer is no. This actually does not contribute to your storage quota, which is good. All right, moving on to the next item. So still on the Learn Ultra side of things. So we've received lots of feedback, including from many of you, about kind of the need for better ways of customizing the Ultra Gradebook and making it more efficient. And this obviously aligns really well with that efficiency pillar as well. So as part of what we currently expect to be the August release, we'll be releasing a new way to apply filters to the gradebook. And I'm actually going to very quickly share a video just showing that in action, which is always a little bit more fun. So let me go ahead and share this. And so essentially with this more advanced way of applying filters to the gradebook, it will essentially be possible to filter by group, filter by student, filter by multiple groups, multiple student, but also filter by item, filter by category. And as you could tell in the video, that's all brought together through this this new side panel. And this will be kind of these filters that can be combined together, and they will be bookmarkable as well. On top of that, as part of this work, we're also bringing a pretty significant improvement to just the overall speed of the gradebook, and it will actually also allow for it to work much better with really large classes. I actually just saw a demo the other day of this new filtering applied to a course with 10,000 students enrolled in it, and it was really pretty snappy, which was cool. All right, let me move back to the slides. All right, next item that I wanted to talk about is around is that we actually yesterday announced a deeper partnership with Concentric Sky, which is the maker of the Badgr credentialing solution. And I'll actually put the link to the announcement in chat. Just a second. Okay, and essentially, so we've been working with Badgr to essentially provide access to digital credentials within Learn, and essentially allowing academics to award badges to students based on different triggers within the LMS, and also for institutions to be able to manage the creation and deployment of learning pathways. And so with this initial integration with Badgr, you get a number of different things. So first of all, there's the free Badgr Spaces solution becomes available for all Learn SaaS deployments. So that's both Learn Original as well as Learn Ultra. And this allows academics to create and award badges. Second thing is that this also comes with, so this provides support for Badgr Pro, which provides kind of more in-depth capabilities around kind of institutional management of pathways, of learning records support, as well as leaderboard capabilities. And the last thing that this initial integration adds is the Blackboard assignment objective, which allows learners to complete LMS objectives by completing linked assignments within Learn. And we're very excited about this partnership, and definitely an area that we expect a lot more to happen going forward. All right, moving on to the next one, and this is actually one that's really close to my heart for obvious reasons. But you may remember that last November we released Blackboard Assist, which is essentially a way to allow you to easily highlight different institutional services to students. It's available from the base navigation, And we've actually seen some really interesting implementations of Blackboard Assist. Our next step within this is to make the Ally file transformer available through Blackboard Assist. And I mean, we know that Ally already provides students with alternative formats for course materials, but we also understand and realize that students deal with other content, such as materials they're working on individually or as part of group projects. And that's really where the file transformer comes in. It essentially gives them a way to generate alternative formats for those types of content outside of the course context. So as part of the August release, we expect this to become available as an option for basically all institutions that have enabled Blackboard Assist. And I do want to be very clear, this file transformer as part of Blackboard Assist does not require an Ally license. So we want to make this available to all students. Okay, moving on to Blackboard Collaborate and Video Gallery. And Video Gallery has probably been the most consistently requested capability that I've ever witnessed. And that was definitely strengthened by COVID and kind of as a way to help combat social isolation in a fully online environment. And it's something that's just generally well aligned with a collective pillar again. And as you're probably aware, earlier this year, we released Gallery View for session moderators, and that supports 25 videos at a time because, I mean, based on the testing that we've done and the research that we've done, we know that's the number of videos that allows for facial expressions of things like confusion, distractions, to still be to still be observable. And we've been told by academics that that's really what they need the Gallery View for. And then we also, I mean, we kind of relied on academic research on video conferencing fatigue, video stress to help build out this functionality. And actually, many of you were involved in kind of the research and development of that feature. Now, more recently, as part of the previous release, we also released the ability to pin videos within the Gallery View, allowing you to pin one or multiple videos to the top of the screen. And now we're on to the next step, which is we're now in the process of rolling out Gallery View to students, starting with a kind of a subset of early adopters, and then rolling out more widely very soon. And then the last, or kind of the next step in that evolution of Gallery View is the ability to have content side by side with multiple videos, and that is currently in active development. And then another one that's really close to my heart is automated captioning for Blackboard Collaborate. We know that there's a really strong demand for this one, and as a first step, the team's currently working on providing automated captioning for session recordings, and we'll actually be running a pilot with European institutions later in the summer to help get some feedback about that and help understand usage better. Following that initial work for transcriptions for recordings, we'll move on to providing automated live captioning within sessions. That last part is definitely outside of the 1 to 3 month range, but there will be an opportunity to participate in early testing for this as well. So those are some of the highlights of kind of what's coming up in the next 1 to 3 months. I wanted to do a very quick poll on, wanted to understand which of these are you most excited about? A, right to left, B, rubric feedback by criterion, C, the Badgr integration, D, Ally file transformer in Assist, and E, automated captioning. So let's give this a second, but I have a strong suspicion on which one is going to come out on top.
I think I do as well, Nico.
And I think that's being confirmed. We'll just give it 2 more seconds, and then we'll open it up. All right, so a very clear winner for automated captioning with some good interest in the Badgr integration and rubric feedback by criteria as well. So thanks for that feedback. That's actually really helpful. And with that, Dom, I'll hand back over to you for the 3 to 6 months outlook.
Awesome, thanks, Nico. Yeah, so let's jump into the 3 to 6 months outlook. And I guess first of all, we want to kind of touch on the course overview. So we're in active development on a brand new course overview and landing page for Ultra courses. This is kind of the evolution that we always talk about with regards to Ultra, that innovation, that continual cycle of improvement. It's been highly prioritized this year and is based on direct feedback from academics, from students, and is also part of our Ultra long-term vision, again, around those pillars that we've discussed. So the concept here is that this capability will bring quick views of direct information for the end user. It will be tailored depending on the role that you access that particular course as. The work, just like with many things in Ultra, is going to be phased in over a period of time based on the milestones that we have. The first phases will include a new navigation component, so moving away from those icons to a more structured textual navigation component, again based on core feedback from instructors. We'll also then be bringing in concepts around the banner, so again from an aesthetics perspective, an alignment between what you can choose on the course cards on the courses area directly with Ultra to make sure there's a sense of alignment there as well. And then we're going to continue to iterate this around things such as analytics and how we can bring in analytical options of improvement and capability for instructors as well. So lots to come on this one, but hugely exciting plans moving forward. And again, tangentially related to that one, progress tracking, something that many instructors have requested for a long, long time in Blackboard Learn, and obviously something that we're super excited about bringing. We're in active development now, like we've mentioned, around this capability. We're targeting a Q3 21 timeframe for phase 1 of this. And phase 1 for progress tracking will focus specifically around abilities for academics and teachers to turn on or off progress tracking, essentially both at a manual component level and also specifically allow automated tracking to take place around things such as graded assessments. Part or phase 2 of this project will then focus more around, again, those analytical visualizations of supporting students' progress directly to academics as well. Continuing the topic of improvements for Learn Ultra, next up, feature flagging. Now we know feature flagging specifically is a critical component of institutionals' change management approaches. And we know that being on SaaS really provides those powerful elements of allowing us to keep clients, institutions on the latest, greatest versions of our product. But we also fully understand that there are times of the year, perhaps during the moment, during examination periods and assessment periods, where making those particular changes or new features coming in is not the ideal capability. What we're building is this feature flagging solution to allow institutions to have the capability to align to when features are then given out to them, or essentially how an institution can manage the rollout of that, really aligning to your change management processes overall. The initial capabilities will allow administrators to turn these features on or off. Ultimately, we will get to a point where these features will default on, but the options here are that we are allowing institutions to make those informed decisions and turn these capabilities on when they need to. Now, it's important to say that not every single feature that we're going to be building or is already in active development will be behind or be using this feature flag solution, because obviously that does impact development time and does impact the complexity of the overall feature itself. But rest assured, this is something that we've heard loud and clear from you, and we are putting in place to allow and to align to your change management capabilities overall. Now, another significant one around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and a real core focus around that for Blackboard. In regards to what we've spent extensive time researching with student groups and institutional leaders, we've sent out qualitative surveys to gain feedback, and we've really sat down with students and instructors as well to really gain their feedback around it. And what we've understood from our research in this area is that we need to strike the right balance between institutional data processes and control and transparency. So with this workflow, we're releasing for both Learn Original and Ultra a focus around pronouns and name pronunciation. We know that students determine their preferred pronouns in either the system of records, that could be the SIS, or in Learn. Students also make name pronunciations, making the features relevant for even more students as well. And what we want to do is also make sure these are displayed to classmates in their and for academics as well in key interaction points. And then later on, we're going to be supporting things such as giving choice and name display specifically to the end users as well. Next up, a significant improvement for administrators around managing the overall components and environment storage. Now, we've heard this loud and clear again based on feedback, and we are working on projects to better support administrators in managing the overall environment storage. A number of projects are currently underway, but one of these things I wanted to focus on today is around how administrators can set maximum file size upload limits directly inside the VLE. We've heard this again from client feedback. The idea here being that users will be warned in a particular workflow that they will not be allowed to upload a particular file over a certain specified file size. And in that workflow, there will be then outlined to say, look, there are other options that you could go ahead and store that. Great example there could be a video file. It could be several terabytes large or gigabytes large. There could be an option there whereby you go ahead and suggest to have that stored perhaps in a media server like Kaltura or Panopto, for example. Next up, improvements for Collaborate. The idea here around deepening our integration again is really a component and something that's critical for us. And we've heard loud and clear, and again, Kathy and Lee also discussed this today on this morning's keynote, around deepening our integration between Blackboard Learn and directly with Collaborate. So one of the things that we're looking at is the ability to support the options of having group course level group sets synced specifically between Learn and between a course, and actually to automatically create those breakout groups directly inside Collaborate. So if an academic is delivering asynchronous engagement across those group sets, having that flexibility and that power to also translate that directly into a live session in Collaborate and utilize those pre-built breakout groups is something that we're in active development on. And it's critical to outline here that this capability will be supporting for group sets in both Learn Original courses as well as Learn Ultra as well. Now, again, one of the things that Kathy and Lee spoke on is around session reliability, and we continue to invest heavily in the core infrastructure of our technology with a number of core projects and developments underway around Collaborate at this time. Some of the core focus areas will be around significantly improving session quality and stability, improving bandwidth utilization, and improving the mobile user experience. And I have to say, I've had the unique opportunity, along with Nicholas, to go ahead and test in an internal development server, and we're super excited about some of the capabilities this is going to bring to really benefit our end users. So super excited about this one. And then finally, to touch on some additional things around Blackboard Achieve. So later this year, you heard on Kathy and Lee's keynote today, we're planning on launching Blackboard Achieve, which is the first premium solution on the Blackboard Data platform. What this capability is going to be offering is a student success reporting and analytics product. This is what this capability is, which provides insight into instructional practice and student engagement and performance across the entire Blackboard EdTech platform. More of this information is going to be launched around BB World, but again, something that we wanted to highlight to our clients during this week's TLC. So super excited about this one for our Blackboard Data platform. And then finally, I wanted to touch on some improvements that we are in active development on around the WYSIWYG editor for Ally. So building on kind of improvements around the RT that we've done this year in Learn, Ally's next big area for improvement on the accessibility will be the focus around this and supporting HTML content directly inside Learn's editor. So as instructors and course designers build their content through the editor, Ally will provide real-time feedback to them to help them understand areas that are such as accessibility issues, particular information is kind of dropped inside the rich text editor, what needs to be improved, what issues are being showcased, and really supporting those kind of use cases to really improve that as part of overall accessibility. Super excited about this one to bring that to Ally's capability as well, and looking forward to kind of giving more information about this as we move forward. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to quickly jump over to Nico so he can close us out on the final longer-term highlights. Nico.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Dom. So, I mean, the challenge for us was to try and cover the entire portfolio in 40 minutes. The conclusion is that it's not possible. So at least we tried. So, I mean, in kind of the last minute, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'll just plant some seeds here because the main story for some of these longer term highlights is that they're all areas where you can be very actively involved in kind of research and feedback in testing. And just to give a few examples, again, this is not comprehensive, but we're planning a lot of work. We're already doing a lot of work around continuing to deepen our integration with the Microsoft tool set, with Office 365, as well as the Google suite, and building out a lot of workflows to support that. And that's something that we are planning to continue to expand, but it could also go beyond. I mean, it could also include things like aligning immersive reader with Ally and so on. So that's an area where lots will be happening. Another area where lots will be happening is that there's going to be a really strong focus on our core workflows, and that includes a number of different things, but there's a range of different grading and kind of new grading and assessment capabilities that we'll be working on. But there'll also be a very deliberate effort or a very deliberate focus on just overall usability, overall efficiency, as well as emotional state, kind of that concept of the LMS very often being a very cold place. So expect, and there will be a lot of opportunity to kind of engage in this one. Another one that I wanted to call out is kind of the whole course creation area is kind of in our research is an area that's being called out as just a time at which instructors spend a lot of time inside of the LMS, and an area that that kind of a lot can kind of where we've identified a lot of ideas to help make this better, help make this more efficient. Anything from allowing courses to be created from existing content, advanced course templating, providing insights into how a course was previously run during rollover. So this is, again, kind of a really rich area where we've got lots of exciting ideas. Another one that we are actually actively working on is the idea of micro reactions. This is something that explicitly came out of our research with students, kind of the ability to allow really lightweight feedback to be provided, either from the student to the instructor, or between students, or even from the instructor to the student. And there's a number of different areas where we kind of expect this to start to show up, but more to come on this one. And then the last one that I wanted to call out, and we've touched on this, but we are kind of continuing to really think about how can we deepen that integration between Learn and Collaborate. Lots of different ideas there. Again, there will be lots of opportunity to kind of engage in feedback and in testing around this. So just wanted to, I know we're running out of time, just wanted to plant some of those seeds. Again, it's not a comprehensive list, but there's some pretty, what I think are some pretty interesting areas that will be up next. So with that, I know we're 3 minutes over, so I'll stop here. I don't know if we have any time for questions, but I'll hand it back over to Joyce and Jillian.
Thank you, Nicholas. Any questions for Nicholas and Dom? Maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions before pass it over to Oleg.
Okay, first of all, Dom and Nicholas, thanks for a great session. I see lots of activities in the chat, and you know, it looks like there is lots of interest, lots of excitement as well. Clearly, there is a lot going on also, you know, with all the innovation, also our pace of innovation actually increasing months over months. First of all, thanks everyone for joining the sessions today. I hope you find them pretty useful. You know, we had a great keynote today from Helen Sharman. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a really nice sessions about the Blackboard Academy, about accessibility, a roadmap. So I personally believe it was a good mix, and I hope you found useful today. I really hope you enjoyed the lunch on us as well. Now, talking about the agenda for tomorrow, we have another packed agenda, and tomorrow I think it's all about sharing customer stories and lessons learned. So don't miss the day tomorrow. Would appreciate if you can join. I'm sure each one of you would be able to find something useful and helpful and learn from others and share your stories as well. As you can see here, we have a number of streams for tomorrow. We have client success stories. We have stream in Spanish. We have you know, a good mix of activities. So again, don't miss it. And also we have a DEFCON in parallel. We will also conclude the session tomorrow with a very exciting keynote about performing under pressure and personal resilience these days. I'm sure all of us are going to find it useful. I'm going to find it useful after all the challenges we had yesterday. So I'm really looking forward to this session. And again, thanks for your time today. I know we had a very packed agenda. We had to restructure on the fly, but technology worked for us well this day, today. And again, thanks again, and I would like to see you tomorrow. Now, we also have networking games. So for those of you who are interested, please join the networking games. I think it's going to be fun activities, and I would encourage you not to miss it. Now, without further ado, I would like to see you tomorrow and have the nice rest of your day. Bye-bye.